I can't tell you how many times I see comments in Reddit or in comments to videos about people who say, if you want to do fusions, you got to be a Kraken, you got to spend money, you got to be a whale, you got to spend, and I'm out of shards and I can't do this event because I don't have shards, and how do I do it? So what I wanted to do in this video is talk about resource management. I'm Cortavius and I am a hoarder. I know that, but I do think I have good valid thoughts on how do you not be a hoarder per se, but how do you manage your resources well? I'm going to cover that early mid game and then late game, end game in two different segments. And if you want to try some of these tactics I'm going to talk about out on a new account for a fresh start, click the link in the description below and you can get Karato, the lockdown legendary nuker, and Tagoar, a great epic, when you hit level 15. All you have to do is follow 4 steps. Step 1, log out of Plarium Play on the PC and uninstall. Step 2, click the link in the description and register with a brand new email. Step 3, launch raid, complete the tutorial. Step 4, go to your inbox and Karato will be sitting there waiting for you, and Tagoar when you hit 15. It's really a great way to start raid. All right, I'm on the free-to-play here, and I'm going to cover the free-to-play account. I'll cover the early to mid-game sections because I think the resources on this account make far more sense than looking at the main. So for shards, you can see this is a free-to-play account. I haven't spent a dime, can't spend a dime on this account. I got 55 sacreds sitting on here, 62 voids, 215 ancients, and a pile of mystery shards. This gives me flexibility in the game. There's nothing they can throw at me with that many shards that I can't get done, whether it's fusions, Titan's Path, hero events. I guess energy is also something you need, but you'll see I'll hit gems later. But I'm not locked out of getting content done because of shard. So I think when you're early progression, when you're just starting out, pull your shards on 2 times and 2 times only. Don't chase progressives. Don't go after other stuff where you don't need them. Don't pull them on 10 times events when they're not 2 times weekends. Don't pull a single shard for those. Save your shards for 2 times events, but pull them on 2 times events. I don't think in your first month or 2 going after a fusion makes any sense. I think what you want to do is pull on 2 times and get champs. You want to get champs that you can build. Once you have a core team of champs that you think can take you to through some content, then it makes more sense to start holding and trying to do more fusions. Depending on how aggressive you are at playing the game, that can be your 2nd month, that can be your 3rd month. If you're a casual player, it might take 5 or 6 months. But you definitely want to get there. Clan boss being top priority off the bat for those type of champs that you're pulling and building. So that's what I would do with shards. I would be using 2 times when I'm progressing, and then I'll switch in the mid to late game section after that. For gems early game, I would be using gems to get your first 2 champs masteries. I would use it to open the gem mine. If you plan on playing the game for long enough, it takes about 3 months to recover investments in the gem mine. So if you plan on paying for a year or more, or long as you think you're going to play, then investing in the gem mine's worth it. And I would use gems to buy energy. I would not be buying shards with gems. Energy, I would be using in the campaign to get my first 3 6 stars, champs to 6 star. I would be using it for missions and challenges because that can give you energy back in return. So you get your return on your energy investment. And I would use the farm masteries on champs. That's what I would be using my energy for in early game. For books, I would be using books on the champs that I think are worth investing in. And I would be using them ideally in CVC, particularly with personal rewards, but CVC when you can get extra rewards for getting higher level tiers in the PR personal rewards CVCs, or in champ training tourneys, you get tournaments, you get points for using books. It's a better time to use books, but I would definitely be using the books. I wouldn't be hoarding them until I have a set of champs that I'm using to build. XP brews for levels, I would be using XP brews in fusions, particularly times like when you have to turn epics in a fusion into level 50s. If you've got some brews stocked up, you can really work to get those epics done without having to burn a bunch of energy. So you can see I let my brews pile up. I generally run campaign to campaign farm. I don't use brews primarily because it gives me flexibility. If I've got to finish a champ training fast, or if I've got to get a fusion done, when I have a stockpile of brews, I'm able to get through content without having to worry about the clock running up. Otherwise, I run campaign and I let Clan Boss build up my brews. Chickens, you'll find with chickens, I've also started piling some up here. Remember, this account is like a level 85, so it's not brand new. But when I'm a new progressing account, I would be using chickens to get as soon as I get them, to get my first 3 6 stars. I would be using chickens as fast as I can to get the 6 stars made fast. Once I have a core set of 6 stars, I would collect some chickens, because I think when you have that first couple fusions you're doing and it's harder to get those done, then those chickens can come in handy to take those 4 epics, 16 rares into epics and 4 epics into to level 50. You have to do those to complete fusions. So getting those epics done, having some chickens around can really help make a fusion a lot easier to do. I would definitely use my chickens and then start to hold them as I have the first 3 6-stars. Ascension pots, if I'm looking at those, hey, when you get the champs that you're building, build those champs. And if you've got pots, use them. So I wouldn't hoard these in any way. I would just be using those as soon as I can ascend a champ, and I would go farm more if I've got to get more. Souls in the soul shops. Hey, as soon as you get a soul for a champ, go use it on the champs you have. There's no value in holding souls that you have. Now I'm not saying go invest in champs just because you have a soul. I'm saying if you pull a soul for a champ you have, there's no great time to put the soul on the champ. Just go ahead and do it right away. As far as the essence though in the market, I don't use these to get more soul stones. I use these to buy souls for champs that I want in the shop, because these are really expensive and hard to get. So early progression and late game, I let this essence pile up and I use it I decide what champ I'm investing in and I wait for that. So on the early game, I'm probably keeping more of an eye out for, if I have these champs, I'm keeping an eye out more for like the Thors or the Armands, the Fabians of the world that I can put, awaken to a greater level. On the main account, I'm waiting for Maria. So I will pick which champ I think is worth putting souls on, and I will hold out for them. So that's what I would call my early mid-game strategy on when to use resources. And then let's switch to the mid-end games, and I'll switch over to the main account for that. So on a late to end game account, you should be at this point in your account, you should have plenty of champs that you're building. There should be a long list of champs that you want to build. Even my free-to-play at level 85 has a set of champs that, man, I got a lot of champs I could build. Once you have the stockpile of champs that you can build, then I think for shards, you move to what I'll call the late game, end game strat, where I want to use shards as resource until I get to a base level of shards. So up to this point, you've been using them to get stuff done. You've been using them to pull on 2 times. Now you've got this stable of champs that you need to build. So you're not in a rush to pull the next shard. That's when you can solve the problem that everybody says, I can't get fusions done. I never have enough shards. It's because you're chasing events. And everyone's like, oh, but this is the progressive I've got to do. No, you don't. This game will throw event after event to pull shards at you. It's nonstop. It's every day. There's always the portals lit up with something. They're always great champs. That doesn't mean you've got to pull for them. So what I do on this account, now I'm a hoarder, remember, so I'm over the board on this account. But what I would do is I would use them as currency, which means you use them if you need them. So I pull only what I need for a fusion. I pull only what I need for a Titan event. I skip the 2 times. I skip the progressive events. I don't pull them unless I need them for currency until I hit a base level of shards. Once I get to the base level of shards, from there I can start using everything above the base again. But by holding a base of shards, I am now flexible in which I can do any event. What is a base of shards? Subjective, but in my mind, I feel like 150 ancients, 150 voids, and 25 sacreds is what I would call the base. Primals, I use those anytime there's a 2 times event on mythicals and legendaries and epics 2 times, full 2 times. I pull all my primals. I don't hold those as in this currency base level approach. All the other shards, I hold a base level of shard. I would define that as the base. From there then, if you only pull, if you're chasing a 15 times or chasing something else, if you're only pulling the shards above the base, you always have the base. Now, you're not forced to buy shards. You're not forced to miss out on content, and you can use them when you need to do a fusion. Or if a Titan path comes out after the fusion, you go to the next fusion. If you're doing Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss, which if you're late game to end game, you're doing Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss, or you don't think you're in that status, then you should be getting a replenishment of shards. And if you've got that base, if you pull 6 or 10 sacreds for a fusion and you drop down to 15, well, you're not pulling them until the next fusion to get back to that base. So you'd get back to 25, then you can start pulling above that if you want to chase something else. I think that strategy is just one, if everyone did that and kept the base, then they free themselves up from the Plarium shock and awe FOMO stuff. So now outside of shards, then if I'm late to end game, when I get to energy, I'm looking at energy as I'm now moving to content that's more end game, late game, end game content. So I'm farming Shogun's Grove and Sand Devils so I can extend my gear, particularly when there's tournaments on those. I'm doing Iron Twins every day, and I'm doing it double keys on the weekend, and 3 times speed, 3 times savage. I'm going to run a bunch of energy in those. And when the event dungeons come out, I'm putting a lot of energy into the event dungeons because that's when I can get my pinpoint gear. So I use my energy in different ways at late game, end game. And then gems don't really change too much for me. I'm using those for energy now. I'm not buying masteries. I'll farm my masteries, but I'm definitely using it for energy and adding space to storage. So I have like 400 there, and I've got these expanded out because I used gems to do those until at some point when I had enough silver. You can certainly do a silver reverse gems call on that as well. I don't buy shards with gems. I think they're too valuable for energy because farming masteries just takes a lot of energy. It takes forever. And being able to run and get the gear that you need takes energy. So I prioritize energy over anything else for gems. And then books, I don't see that changing from the early game. I think you're booking champs that are worth booking, and I think you're using those in CVC PR if you can. If you can hold out, it's definitely a great place to get those PR tiers. And if you're getting the benefit, if you're going to pull them in, use books anyway, if you can get the tier 6 benefits of those, then why not? Or in a champ training tourney also gets points for using them. XP brews, same thing. You can see I got piles of XP brews because I campaign farm. I use campaign farm during fusions, and because dungeon divers is usually run at the same time. So if you use brews, you don't get any dungeon diver points, and I'm trying to get dungeon diver points anyway. So I find when I do campaign and I do dungeons, I finish dungeon divers. Dungeon divers is never a problem for me. I'm always done with it. I'm usually going past the fusion tier because I'm running campaign doing it. It takes more energy. So it's energies versus brews. But I've piled them up. The other thing to consider with both brews and chickens when I get to those is you have to make a decision if you ever plan to go compete in one of those champ training tourneys. They do tournaments with champ training where the top 2 spots can get a champion or a soul or something special. If you ever want to do those, then piling up brews and piling up chickens is a strat to do that. So I have enough to be able to do that. Typically, I just don't get too excited to spend that much time on it, but it is a choice to make and something to consider. So really, that's the same thing with chickens. You just got to decide if you want to compile them to be able to compete at some point. I have way more chickens than I'd ever need there. But as I said, I'm usually running campaign and I got more food champs than I know what to do with as well. So, whether I got chickens or I got food chickens, I think once you hit endgame, there's more than you can make with those. So ascension pots, really no different on these. These are just use them when you use it. Use them when you lose them. Use them when you need them. Funny enough, I actually find the small pots are my problem. I want the ability to go backwards with the converter. So we can only go forwards. We can only make more, higher, bigger pots. I want to go backwards and make smaller pots because that's actually my problem is I make, whether it's fusions or making more Broadma after Broadma, I actually go farm minor pots, which is a pain. I don't know why we can't go backwards on those. But anyway, that's Ascension pots, just use them. Souls, use them when you get them, just the same as early game, no real change. Soul Essence, same way for me on Soul Essence. I am using materials for getting the essence to be able to make stars. So I want to get Marius to 6-star. That takes like 400 of the top Soul Essence. So you need to be able to, I got 185 more that I can make here, plus the 101 I have. That's only 286. I can't even take one legendary champ to 6-star with the Soul Essence I have. So I hoard this stuff because it takes forever to get that many. So if you're using it to get stones to summon champs, you're relying exactly on those. So that's an argument. I think some people prefer to get those because they say, hey, if I can get an Eternal Soul Stone, I got a better chance of getting the soul I want instead of waiting in the market forever. So it's not really a right or wrong. My style though is I pile up the essence and I want to make sure I'm always working on one champ. So Marius is the one right now. When Marius gets the 6-star, I'll pick the next champ that I want to go after and build essence for that champ. So that's my end game, late game strategy. Please comment below if you disagree, if there's something that I missed, because if anybody's watching this video, it can be helpful to them. I directed this mostly to those people that just say, I never have enough resources. I can never get it done. You can't do fusions. I showed you the free to play with the resources it has. You got to get to Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss. You got to run that every day. Running Nightmare Clan Boss every day. If you do those, the resource, and then just play the game, get the content in, go do Doom Tower, get Curse City in. Resources pile up on these accounts. It's really just manage and use the resources effectively, use them intelligently. And there's no reason you ever have to spend in this game unless you want to, because look at that free to play account. I've done every fusion since Armand's on my free to play. And with one exception, I think last fall I skipped one because it was not interesting. And I've done every Titan event on that account. I've gotten the 5-star souls for every champ they've offered them, with the exception of that one Hero's Path where they did Sir Nick and Noel on an expensive one. But all the Titan ones I've done. It's definitely doable. You just have to plan the resource. Hopefully this was helpful. If it was, I'd love if you could like and subscribe. If you didn't find it helpful and you thought this video was garbage, I'd like if you like and subscribe anyway. Just do me a favor. I'm trying to build the account. Appreciate it. Thank you. Have a great day.